YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. This is the first video of my trans issues playlist. I'm making a video today just because I'm actually wearing a shirt I haven't made a video in yet, and yeah. So, to start bitching about trans issues and the gay community at large, I have to first make this video, which is basically going to be talking about my issues and my gayness at large. I typically don't like making these videos unless I have some stuff written down so I don't get lost, but I'm just going to try and wing it today. So, first video of my trans issues playlist. Before I start bitching about everybody else, I'm going to try and put out my information so that when people want to start fights with me in the comments, they can come here and find out what my issue is. I want to talk about, well, first off, if you're following me for Suboxone, like, you might just want to get out of here or stay. I mean, you're more than welcome to stay and hear how a freak is a freak, but if you're just disgusted by all that, you're only here for Suboxone withdrawal, like, roll, save you the headache right now. But where to start with all this? I'm gonna start with I was born in like 1980. Okay, so when I was going to elementary school, it was late 80s. Okay, like my fourth grade, fifth grade year would be 1988, 1989, 1990. So it was a different world back then, and the reason I'm starting all this with the trans issues is because, like, I'm really frigging annoyed at trans youth in general, because, like, they don't even appreciate how good they got it. They don't appreciate their freedom. They're crying about pronouns, or, you know, and it's not all of them. Like, this is the worst part, is, like, there's a stark difference between reality in the person, in the flesh, and what we see on screen going on. And that goes for the trans community especially, because a lot of trans people, you wouldn't even know they're trans, and they just live a normal life and they just want to be normal. They don't want their life to be about that. But there's big problems going on. So I'm gonna try and talk about my issues first, and then I'm going to be making other videos for each specific issue. So it's going to be really hard for me to try and stay on track here. But if you want to, like, shortcut on what my basic beliefs are, like, follow Blair White. Okay, Blair White on YouTube. She's a trans girl, and she pretty much, if I was going to be a trans YouTuber, that's who I would be, because, like, she's got a brain on her. But let's go back. Fourth grade, 1980s. Okay. First time I knew I had a problem, like, I mean, first, second, I don't really remember first grade. Second grade, I was in Chester, which is like ghetto, ghetto. And third grade as well, I was much depressed. I slept a lot. My parents are, I'm all over the place right now because making this video without trashing my parents is going to be difficult, but we're gonna do this. The first time I knew there was something wrong with me or different, I would say, is in fourth grade. And, like, this is pretty common theme. Like, they'll try and tell you that you don't know what you are, like, and people try and tell you what you are, but that's just not the facts. Like, fourth grade, when they split us up at the first day of school and said girls in this line, boys in that line, I can distinctly remember standing in my boy line, looking over at the girls, and just the overwhelming remorse of, I can't be in that line. I don't get to do what they do. I don't get to experience what they experience, and I want to. Like, that's my first memory of that. So, like, to say, like, that, you know, we're taught that and told that, it's just false. Okay, like, my mom basically knew I was femme. Didn't take her long to figure it out, and she did everything she could to stop that. So, like, it wasn't like I had a mom influencing me to be femme. I had the exact opposite. Like, I couldn't even talk, you know, like a QUEER or FAG because, that wasn't accepted. They actually yelled at me for years until I started speaking correctly for them. My dad was way more open to it because like my dad was basically a chick in a dude body, but like he was a dude. He fought, he worked. He had his own issues. I mean, we can make another video about that another day. It's not about him today. But they were there. I had two parents, and I had these issues. And basically, back then, you couldn't talk about it. You weren't going to talk about it. And I was, people that there was gay and trans people that were, I do respect because they were pushing the boundaries and trying to live their life and not hide like I was, where, I was scared, I was confused, I was very uninformed. Like, we didn't have the internet. Okay, I'm older than Google. Just keep that in mind. Okay, do the math. 44, older than Google. So the only thing I was seeing of trans and gay people were like in betweens. Like, they don't show you the trans person that successfully transitioned, is living a good life, and is happy and normal. What they show you on TV is these in betweens, like the rough years where you don't look like you fit in either camp, and people are taught to hate and mess with you, and it's a very different environment back then. Like, basically, I decided I didn't want to be half of anything. I wanted to be a whole something. So I stuck with what I did. I didn't transition. I stayed in the closet. Even when I did get to be in like 15 years old, there was issues. Like, I was acting out, and I still didn't know what to do. Like, I still was just doing it in secret, okay, hiding it. But it never went away. I tried to tell myself no. I tried to tell myself it was a fetish. I thought I could manage it. I thought, like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, honestly. I'm more of a go with the flow kind of person. Girls liked me. Like, I survived pretty well as a man, so, like, it wasn't, like, do or die for me to transition, where, like, a lot of people have to transition just because they're not surviving well. Like, they're way more femme. They're getting picked on, their voice, and this and that, or they're just so depressed they can't live with it, or they have a malfunctioning genitals and they just hate it so much. Like, or, if I had messed up genitals, I'd probably remove them. Okay, like, where mine is, I'm not gonna sit here and brag, but mine's nice. Okay, I got plenty of feedback on that, and I'm generally a freak. So, like, I will, I did always date girls. I did have a kid with one, but at the same time, I've always had this, like, in the closet problem where, like, I want to be the girl. I do want to be with a guy and this and that. And I was always acting out these things in private. But I always thought I could manage it. I went years without dressing when I was with my kid's mom. But eventually, it always comes back. And every time it comes back a little bit stronger. So, I didn't transition. I mean, nowadays I stay. I'm somebody's dad, and I don't. I did eventually come out because I thought staying in the closet was what was best for my daughter, but I was so depressed I was practically suicidal and killing myself with drugs. So, once I came off the drugs and I started realizing, like, coming out, I couldn't lie to her, couldn't push her away like I did everybody else because I didn't want to do that. So I came out to her first because she's the only thing that freaking matters to me. I don't really give a shit what anybody else thinks. Like, so that happened. But it's funny, she calls me the most homophobic gay person she knows, and I got reasons for that, because, like, I'm not enjoying watching the gay and trans community online. Aside from, like, Blair White and a couple, like, drag queens that are using, being conservative as, like, a way to, like, get attention on TikTok, like, I don't really see a spot where I fit in, okay? Like, even though technically I am a gay male because I do gay things, like, I don't identify as a gay male. Like, I'm not it's not the same thing. Okay, anybody that's trans could tell you that. Like, we're rejected by the gay community just as much as we are the straight community. Like, they don't understand. A gay male does not understand a trans person. And sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to figure this one out. But what makes a trans person trans? Like is a question I've been trying to figure out my entire life. Like, is it something that happened when I was young? You know, sometimes like girls want to be guys because they're getting molested. That happened with somebody I know. And like soon as like we got the molester in jail, like she stopped wanting to be a guy, so she went back to enjoying her womanhood. But there's all kinds of reasons I've had to ask myself over the years and try and figure out, like, why am I this way? Like, I used to beg to God, like, by the time I was 13 and puberty started kicking in, I would cry myself to sleep begging God to let me wake up a girl tomorrow. Like, I don't even care if it was the shittiest girl's life possible. Like, I just didn't care because, like, I hated being a guy that much. Like, I don't believe in putting anything in a box. I believe that there's tough girls. I believe that there's, you know, soft guys, and I don't believe like because like a boy is skittish or wants to play with dolls, like you should be telling him he's in the wrong body. And like that crap that's going on nowadays, and Blair White's pushing back against that as hard as she can, and it's true, we shouldn't be chemically castrating kids before they're 18. But at the same time, like, if I could have had the support I needed, I probably could have transitioned and it would have been different. So like, I'm not totally against certain kids getting the hormones and sex change stuff they want, but this like new trend of like trying to tell a kid they're in the wrong body and then chemically castrate them, let them hack their body, hack their boobs off and all this stuff, and then watching them detransition, it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. Like, but at the same time, as a 44-year-old adult that never transitioned, I can tell you that, you know, I wish I had the opportunity to pursue that. So like, I'm very much on the fence with that. We're gonna get into that in another video, but you know, I just wanted to put that out there for the channel. Like, I did make another video where I like kind of came out on video back then. I was way more nervous about stuff, but I've been out of the closet a while. It went good. My family's not terrible. Like, even the ones that don't like it still are okay with it. It's not like I'm getting disowned by my family and stuff. So I haven't gone through it that hard either, but I didn't push it as a kid. I refused to cut my hair as a child. And then like I had bad grades in school, and my mom used it as an excuse to cut my hair off eventually. But you know, she flipped out when I pierced my ears. Like, I got the left one, and then when we were out prom weekend all drunk, I got my friend to pierce my right one, and she spazzed the hell out and would not leave me alone, and she ended up yanking them all out while I was sleeping, and then proceeded to force my dad to cut my hair off because my grades weren't good enough as a punishment. And like, I cried like a baby, and you know, I gave up. I got depressed. I started doing drugs, and I just didn't give a shit. I just basically half-ass walked through life and just wanted to die most of the time because like I just couldn't live the way I wanted to live, and it was upsetting to me. And like, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't push back against her hard enough. But like, again, I couldn't find people that were like me. I couldn't even find the community because I didn't have access to a computer. When everybody else started getting access to computers in 1995, we had one, but my mom wouldn't let me touch it. So like, there was that. Like, so it's still like, I had zero access to any information or any people like me. I was living in a farm town, a small farm town in Pennsylvania. And if I wasn't there, I was in the outskirts of Philadelphia, which is rough. Okay, like rough. And like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into all my failures, but just kind of wanted to put that out there. So where I'm at now is like, basically I live however I want. Some days I look like a girl, some days I don't. Some days I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. Like, it's whatever. I still enjoy the in-between, you know, a little bit more. Honestly, I wish I would have transitioned, but I didn't. like I said, and I brought a kid into this world, and I don't think like I should be spending money on transitioning while I'm trying to get this kid raised and off to college. I don't agree with parents doing that at all. Like, I got off track earlier when I started talking about that, but these parents that transition and make their whole kid's life about them, while they spend $35,000 on boobs and can't afford to put their kids through college or give them what they need. Like, that's all messed up to me. Like, I did believe in coming out so I could be a little happier for her, but as far, like, she's my number one priority at this point. I brought her into this world, and she's all I'm worried about, and she's all I've ever been worried about. My transition, my life, my sexuality, that all comes second to the person I brought into this world. Like I said, that's a whole nother video we're gonna make. What else will we be talking about? Those are my issues, I guess. Like, spent my whole life trying to figure this out. Like, why am I gay? Here's a little tidbit. My mom took birth control for 2 weeks after I was conceived, because she's a teenager. Okay, my mom was 16 when she got pregnant, 17 when she had me. My dad was 18, and she got on birth control. So, like, I had these weird skinny wrists. Okay, like, I'm a very tall person. Me and my brother are both tall, but the difference is my brother has a man wrist. Okay, and my brother doesn't have these little girly shoulders, like. So, like, there's something up with my skeleton. It's a curved spine skeleton. It's very female skeleton. Even my daughter's body matches mine exactly, like, which is funny to me. So there's that. There might have been some influence from the TV, I'm sure. I can remember Burt Reynolds when we were still living in Chester, so it had to be second or third grade. And, like, I remember that movie. I don't even know the name of the movie, but I just remember seeing Burt Reynolds in a robe and some, like, pinkish stockings. And, like, his wife thought he was cheating on her, and she was spying on him in his hotel room through the keyhole, which is funny. Like, hotel had a keyhole. But she's spying on him through the keyhole, and, like, sees his, like, stocking legs getting into bed, and they break in the room and find out it's him. But, like, there wasn't really that much influence for that. Like, for me to see somebody like that was always like a relief. Like, okay, there is other people that are struggling with this. Like, there is other guys that do this. Like, it wasn't like now. Like, these kids now can just search it on Google, see it all, see the whole world, see what's happening, like, see other people doing it, where I just didn't. It was so taboo back then. Like, I just didn't know. Like, I knew what I was doing in secret, but I really didn't know what the hell was going on. So, like, for me to say anything's actually influenced me into it, it's very difficult. Very difficult. And, I mean, I've mentioned before, like, I don't believe that pinpointing any one cause is really it, okay? Like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe you should pinpoint one cause and be like, oh, well, you're trans, or this is why you're trans. Like, the world is too complicated and too crazy, and, like, I hate labels. I hate being put in a box. Like, I hate, like, they'll say, oh, okay, I'm trans and I'm femme, so, like, now I just have to be this way all the time. Well, guess what? Sometimes I want to freaking dress like a dude. Like, I don't have to do anything. Like, just because, like, everybody loves drawing these lines and putting shit in boxes and, like, putting labels on stuff. Well, like, I can tell you right now, there is no label for this one. It's besides, like, asshole. I'd say it was my number one label. But there is no label, there is no box, there is no one way. I'm running out of time to make this video, so I have to go. But this is the first video of my trans issues, and there will be more to come. I'm not sure when or how soon, but every time I get fired up about Dylan Mulvaney and Tom McDonald and every other friggin' idiot I can, like, think, James Charles, like, there's all kinds of stuff we have to talk about in the trans issues. But I just wanted to kind of try and give a little bit of background about, like, where my issues are and what that is, and, like, hopefully I did not fail miserably. That's all for now. By the way, I heard it. Bye. Have a good day.